This is Unit 4, Week 3, question number 9. What was the impact of the Supreme Court decision in Plessy v. Ferguson? Plessy v. Ferguson legalized segregation. Separate but equal was constitutional and did not violate the 14th Amendment. It legalized Jim Crow, legalized discrimination, legalized segregation, and it wouldn't be overturned for 60 years until the 1950s with Brown v. Board. A. What did the Civil Rights Act? The Civil Rights Act was passed by the Reconstruction Congress, the Republicans in Congress who wanted to bring a lot of reform and change to southern states and order them to change their society, essentially, to incorporate blacks. It said all private businesses, restaurants, railroad, all public spaces could not discriminate. You could not have separate waiting rooms for blacks and whites, separate railroad cars, etc. And the Supreme Court heard a number of cases, but finally in 1896, Homer Plessy, who was partly a black man, mixed racial background, would not, he was forced to sit in a black rail car on railroad tracks, kind of like eventually Rosa Parks with a bus. He refused to go to the blacks-only railroad car, and he sued, using the Civil Rights Act to protect him, and the 14th Amendment that said all citizens get equal protection of the law. The Supreme Court decided against him in favor of the railroads, saying that they could discriminate, they could segregate, as long as there were separate facilities that were equal. Of course, the reality is separate schools, separate bathrooms, separate drinking fountains, separate railroad cars, none of them were actually equal. But in 1896, Plessy v. Ferguson did legalize segregation and discrimination in the United States. And it took another 60 years until the Civil Rights Movement, launched by Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King, to overturn this. And that's it from some guy in an aloha print shirt.